Hello, happy people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at Liz Colter's Sundown. It is a short story that appears in the Weird Wild West collection that was published and kickstarted in 2015 that we've been taking a deep dive into. Here's my copy of this collection that I'll link you to in the comments below. Now, Liz does not have a Wikipedia page, but she does have a bio page here that I thought I'd read to you. Liz Colter lives in the rural area of Colorado and spends her free time with her husband, dogs, horses, and riding. Over the years, she has worked as a paramedic, an outward bound instructor, an athletic trainer, a draft horse farmer, and a dispatcher for concrete trucks, which sounds like a lot of fun. But her true passion is writing. She has been writing speculative fiction for a lifetime and creating her own speculative worlds for more than a decade. Her short stories have appeared in a variety of magazines and anthologies, including Galaxy's Edge magazine, Urban Fantasy magazine, as well as international contest-winning story in the Writers of the Future anthology. In longer works, she has completed 2 fantasy novels and is working on a 3rd. If you want to follow Liz Colter, you can do so at www.lizcolter.com, in case you're interested in following her along on her journey. Now, Liz Colter, when I first read this name here in my collection here, I got it confused with Lynn Carter. And the reason for that is that Lynn and Liz both begin with LIs and have just one consonant afterwards, so they're very close together. And then Colter and Carter are very similar. They share 4 out of 6 letters and are the same length and only have 2 letters difference. So I thought this was Lynn Carter, and then I was like, nope, this is a 2015 collection. Right? Obviously, a Lynn Carter work wouldn't be included. Go away. But that just is a funny aside. So this is about 11 pages long. I knocked it out last night about 18 minutes or so, maybe 19. But I clocked myself in at about 18 on my phone. This is in the Weird West genre we've been doing a deep dive into. Now, the Weird West is a genre that combines the old Western styles, location and setting, and some of the tropes of the Western setting with either horror or fantasy or science fiction or 2 or all 3 of those. And since this channel cares about horror, science fiction, and fantasy stories and does reviews thereof, it's felt to me that the Weird West was a nice fit. Now, this one is in the horror genre of that. Now, Kim Newman said that the horror genre is subdivided into 2 tropes. The first of those is the Native American curse, wherein somebody is cursed by a Native American and then has to deal with that curse. The second type is the Gothic Western style that combines a sort of traditional horror like vampires or zombies or werewolves with an old Western setting that he calls the Gothic Western. This one would probably be closer to Gothic Western, but it does have elements that are different, which makes this pretty interesting. Although, it might seem like that, at the front. So basically what's happening in this story, and again, I won't give spoilers to it, I'm just going to give you the first couple of pages, but what we find out is that a brand new family has moved to this town in the Old West. And we find out that there is this character called Sundown, who is not nice, and he rides a large dog, and he comes around twilight, which is why he's called Sundown by the locals, and he steals kids when he rides around. And so we open up, and he is coming to this farm, and he steals the daughter of our protagonist, who's the father, and then heads off. And now for the rest of the story, he's going to be chasing him down. And that sort of thing. So that's basically the key concept. It's kind of unique. I don't remember coming across a kidnapping, dog riding character before. So that's pretty cool. It does go into a horror element and that sort of thing, but it's nice. I do think that the second half of this probably has too much talking and sort of a narrative style of world building rather than just showing or showing it or telling it. Also, it has probably too much world building and not enough actual proper plot that uses it. One of the key things in a short story that you want to do is that if you mention something, it needs to be important later on in the story. This particular plot is called Chekhov's gun. It's also key for plays and theater and musicals and that sort of thing too. If you're going to mention a gun or if you're going to show a gun as part of your world building on stage, then that gun has to be used in that short story later on, or else you shouldn't have mentioned it. So that's sort of the key thing, and I do think that there is some world building in this short story that doesn't apply to what the short story is trying to tell or the story that it wants to tell. So I'm giving this more of a 6.3 or a 6.4 and rounding it down to a 6 than something in my ratings. It's fine. It's definitely written well. It's gripping. It's fun. It's interesting. It has a different style of a story to it that I like, and it has some aspects to it that aren't your traditional Gothic Western. To like too, and it takes it in a very different way than you might expect from your normal Gothic Western, and it has a nice ending to it, which I like as well. But again, it doesn't have. It has maybe some too much world building and too much, world building in the form of dialogue rather than world building in the form of like actual proper, like stories that matter and will build up the world and that sort of a thing. So those are my two major critiques of this pretty quick short story. Again, probably just took me like 18 minutes for me to read it. We've been doing a deep dive into the Weird West genre here on my channel recently. This was begun by the mid-60s TV show The Wild Wild West, which combines a traditional Old Western setting with spy narratives, science fiction, and even some steampunk here and there. It was a key influence on steampunk genre. So that's pretty cool. Then I was still into it, so then I watched Legend, and I watched The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., and then I watched a 1935 serial that stars the singing cowboy himself, Gene Autry, called The Phantom Empire. And now I'm reading some stuff in that genre too, in the picked up a short story collection, and I've enjoyed my sort of jaunt into this genre. So there you go. Have you read this short story or anything else by the author? If so, I would be more than happy to engage you with it further in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. And if you want to talk about some of the spoilers, which my reviews are spoiler free, I'd be happy to do that with you as well. If you like this video, hey, why not hit that subscribe button? There'll be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.